Guns N' Roses shocked the rock world with their seminal debut album Appetite for Destruction in 1987. It would go on to become one of the biggest selling albums of all time, and while the band waited to record their next full-length follow-up, they released a stopgap EP in 1988 titled GN'R Lies. While successful, the EP ignited a media firestorm over one song. Today, we're going to talk about the controversy over that song and how some people rushed to the band's defense. Appetite for Destruction was a slow burn for Guns N' Roses. The band's label Geffen Records almost gave up on the album after sales failed to surpass 300,000 copies. But a year of touring with high-profile acts including The Cult, Aerosmith, and Iron Maiden, along with MTV finally deciding to play Welcome to the Jungle and the single Sweet Child of Mine, would turn the band's fortune around, and by the end of 1988, the record sold a whopping 6 million copies. And this was despite the fact that many wholesalers refused to carry the album because of the offensive language and content on the record. To serve as a stopgap between Guns N' Roses' next full-length release, the band cut GN'R Lies. The EP consisted of old material on one side, which was made up of Guns N' Roses' first EP that was released in 1986. That EP only had 5,000 to 10,000 copies made, and with the band's newfound fame, some people were selling it for exorbitant prices. Frontman Axl Rose resented this and wanted fans to have the chance to listen to those songs, so the band included those 4 tracks on GN'R Lies. The other side of the EP consisted of new material including the songs Patience, Used to Love Her, a slowed-down version of You're Crazy, which was on Appetite for Destruction, and of course today's topic of discussion, 1 in a Million. 1 in a Million tells the story of a small-town white boy coming to the big city and is really about frontman Axl Rose's experience at the Greyhound bus station and convenience stores in Los Angeles. The song was accused of promoting homophobia, nationalism, and racism, and I want to make it clear I am not here to take one side or the other today, but rather to talk about the controversy and give an objective look at the song and let you in the audience make up your minds. Released on November 29, 1988, GN'R Lies was reviewed by the band's hometown paper, the LA Times, who on December 4th stated the following: "Clearly 1 in a Million with its abhorrent epithetical references to gays and ethnic minorities will be a point of controversy. Does the band agree with the views, or is the song a recognition of small-town prejudice as the darker side of the American dream?" the paper would ask. Of course, the LA Times was completely correct. The song would ignite a media firestorm, but it took a while before things really exploded. Initially, the band's record label backed Guns N' Roses, putting out the following statement: "We believe in free speech at this record company. We've stickered the record, which should serve as an ample warning to concerned parents. But we can't speak for the artist. In fact, it's important to let our artists speak for themselves, and we hope their audience will judge them in the appropriate context," they'd say. In the same LA Times article, the newspaper would interview bassist Duff, who was asked about the track and defended the band, saying, "I think each individual has to interpret it as they like. As for me, I think it's kind of funny. It's real life, and this band has never minced words when it comes to real life. The song is basically Axl's view of coming to downtown LA for the first time. He was from Indiana. He was real green in LA, blew his mind. You have to remember, we've lived all this stuff. When you saw these dirty white trash expletive guys on Hollywood Boulevard, hey, that was us," he'd say. While GN'R Lies quietly racked up millions in sales and produced a huge hit single in Patience, the controversy over the track really swelled in the summer of 1989. It started with an August interview with frontman Axl Rose, who talked to Rolling Stone magazine, where he said the following: "Why can black people go up to each other and use the racial epithets, but when a white guy does it, all of a sudden it's a big put-down?" In the same interview, Rose revealed the band was supposed to play a benefit show the same year for the gay men's health crisis to raise money for AIDS research. Rose was adamant in the interview that the band wanted to play the event because they felt it was a good cause to get behind, but they were quickly dropped from the event because of the song. In addition to the Rolling Stone piece, it would be an op-ed published in the Village Voice, which took the publication to task over criticizing the rap group Public Enemy for anti-Semitic remarks, but not treating Guns N' Roses the same way. From there, a lot of media outlets, including The Today Show, The New York Times, and other publications, covered the song's controversial lyrics and themes. And of course, Tipper Gore, who led the censorship group the Parents Music Resource Center, or the PMRC, also had to weigh in with their 2 cents and slam the band as well. But one thing that was missed by the media was the fact that nobody bothered to bring up the fact that guitarist Slash was half black, and bassist Duff McKagan came from a family that was ethnically mixed. Even late-night host Arsenio Hall slammed Rose, saying, "There are rules of the turf. I met several members of Guns N' Roses during the MTV Awards, and they seemed nice and decent, but Axl never said a word to me. And if we ever talk, I'll tell him another rule of the street. If you use that kind of language, you'll get your rear end whipped. And I hope someone whips his rear end so he knows it's a mistake," he'd say. But in what was a surprising twist of events, actor Sean Penn defended Guns N' Roses in a 1989 op-ed he wrote for the New York Times, comparing the song to a Robert Capa war photo, labeling criticism of the band as, and I quote, "pseudo-liberal hogwash." MTV would also cover the story and interview numerous musicians including Billy Joel, NWA, and the members of Living Colour, as you can see here.
Of racist propaganda reaching out toward white youth, it is disquieting to hear the leader of one of the biggest white rock bands in America sing a song that attacks not only foreigners and homosexuals, but also, as Axl Rose of Guns N' Roses put it, disturbing. Part of the distaste felt by many white hard rock fans for disco in the 1970s was an often unspoken resentment of the black and gay people who were in large part its stars.
I used the word because it just fit real quick. It fit, it was accurate, and it wasn't being derogatory to a large group. So there's a lot of different meanings to that word, but a lot of people just take the time to assume that when a white person uses the word cement, that's the whole black race, and you're derogatory, and you're a racist.
I was talking to Axl Rose about that song. I met up with him in Los Angeles. Nice guy. I asked him, what about this song? And his point was he wasn't saying it as him. He was saying this is what people say. He said that was his, just to present his point of view.
So, if you want to express his thoughts, Guns N' Roses, peace.
Everyone that's an artist has artistic freedom to do what they want. I am completely against censorship. So I think Axl Rose has the right to say what he likes. But if he puts it out in the, in the public eye, then he has to deal with the reaction.
By October of 1989, the controversy popped back up again when Guns N' Roses were set to open 4 dates for the Rolling Stones in Los Angeles at the Coliseum. Also on the bill those nights was Living Colour. And Living Colour guitarist Vernon Reid gave a radio interview ahead of the gigs and spoke out on stage against Rose for his lyrics. Rose responded on stage the first night in a rant where he said the following: "All you people calling me a racist, shove your head up your effing ass." So what was the reaction from Slash and Rose's other bandmates years later? Well, Slash would tell Musician magazine in 1990, "Everybody on the black side of my family was like, 'What is your problem?' My old girlfriend said, 'You could have stopped it.' What am I supposed to say? Axl and I don't stop each other from doing things." It was something he really wanted to put out to explain his story, which is what the song is about. Axl is a naive white boy from Indiana who came to Hollywood, was brought up in a totally Caucasian society, and it was his way of saying how scared he was, and this and that. Izzy Stradlin, meanwhile, wasn't happy about the lyrics in the song, telling Vox in 1991, "Living with that 1 in a million fallout was heavy shit. I don't know if Axl learned anything from that experience. I would hope he did." Actually, Slash said the best things about it in some interview he did when he said that Axl's free expression was all well and good, but he'd hate to think what would happen if anyone in the band got thrown in jail and had to explain the lyrics to the other guys doing time. Because during that period, I ended up in jail in Phoenix for a day. It was pretty effed up. I've actually done a story on that very instance when Izzy Stradlin went to jail. The link is down below. Years later, Duff McKagan would look back on the song in his 2011 autobiography, It's So Easy and Other Lies. Axl's lyrics in 1 in a Million immediately caught attention. The press labeled us things like David Duke's house band. I heard that the KKK or some faction of it started using this as their war cry. I stood by my original interpretation of the song and of Axl's intentions. Art gets misunderstood all the time. Still, I found myself uncomfortable as a result of this particular misunderstanding. And of course, 3 years later in 1992, in the run-up to the Freddie Mercury tribute show, the song came up once again as some of the groups protested Guns N' Roses' inclusion on the bill. The Freddie Mercury tribute show would also mark the first time Axl Rose would play with one of his musical idols, Elton John. Fast forward to 2018, and Guns N' Roses reissued Appetite for Destruction along with GN'R Lies, and 1 in a Million was removed from the box set. Slash would tell Rolling Stone why the band omitted the song, revealing, We collectively decided that it just didn't have any place in that box set. It didn't take long. There wasn't a big round table thing over it, he'd say. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you guys have suggestions for future topics, fill out the Google form in the description box below. Take care.